And we're back.
Deal.
So we just so we're just splitting up now, right?
So Kelariis has walked away. The three of you are setting up your encampment for the evening. Kelariis, as you walk away, Thesira is still just sort of sitting on this rock, like looking at her sword, and she appears to be deep in thought, and has been for probably the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna walk over and just say, I guess just probably call her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She like looks up, like stands up, and like pays attention to you and says, "What are we doing?"
Well, I wanted to check in with you first.
She
been thinking.
She pauses, like looks back down at the sword again, like looks back at you and like sheaths the sword, and just says, I'm just trying to get my head around this whole idea.
Of what we're attempting to do right now, or?
Yeah. You remember what I said about naming my sword?
Yes.
Well, I decided when I named it that it wasn't just going to be a name. I decided that it was going to be my vow, I guess. That I was going to try and be a guardian.
I think that so far you've upheld that.
Yeah. I mean, I did what I could for the village. I wish there was more that I could have done. But
just because you didn't do everything you wish you could have doesn't mean that you failed.
She nods and sort of says, "It's hard to accept, but I know what you're saying."
I know.
The thing I'm struggling to come to terms with now is that Guardian has two sides to it. It's not just using my strength to protect people. It's I guess knowing when to be less strong. That doesn't make sense.
When it's better not to fight, but to try and work around that, is I think what you're saying.
Sort of. I mean, right now it feels like what all of you want to do is the opposite of what I've been trying to do this whole time. But it isn't the wrong thing to do. It's like I'm swapping sides, but not to turn against what I've already done, but to make sure that everyone is protected to make sure everyone's protected, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just having trouble making the ends meet.
I think that sometimes I still have the same trouble. And you're learning this a lot faster than I did, and a lot sooner.
She like looks at you quite seriously for that moment and just sort of says, I just thought of what you would do.
I think, for what it's worth, that you did fantastically for what you had available to you and the time that you had. You did everything that you could, and you did what you felt was right. And that's important.
She nods and just says, coming back and finding out how many people had died doing what I told them to do was... I think you said it right. What I wanted to exact vengeance for them, but it... I think we had to stop before it became revenge.
Yeah, Kelariis is like nodding.
I wanted nothing more than to... I think she pauses, like, changes to Draconic momentarily because she feels more comfortable with it and just says, kill all of them. But that wasn't right. And I knew it wasn't right. But there was a part of me that still wanted that.
I think the most important thing is that you realize that wasn't right. The fact that you are able to, I guess in a sense, question what we've been taught all of our lives. That's important. I think there were a lot of the times where I felt the same way for a while, but having traveled with these people and just kind of like nods and gestures towards everybody else, and after what happened in Cassport, I realized that there's always more than one side to the story. And it's trying to find the line between justice and it turning into just revenge or cruelty even, because that makes us no better than anybody else who would do those things to others.
She nods.
It's not an easy choice to make, though.
No.
And that's another thing. It's hard to remember or to recognize it sometimes, but you didn't make those people do anything in the village. They chose to fight. They wanted to fight. They still do now, even after what happened. You didn't force them to do anything. There's a difference there.
She, like, pauses for a moment, just thinks and sort of says, I think that was what I tried to explain to Sadani. And I don't think she really quite understood what I was saying. Maybe I didn't explain it properly, or... Anyway.
It's hard sometimes to get people to understand that. I think Arya, out of everybody here, is probably the one who understands that most. It's about giving the people the option to choose, instead of forcing them into one action or another. And sometimes, even if you can't get everybody to agree with you, you still have to follow what you think is right. And I think you did that.
She, like, tightens the straps on her armor a little, and just says, yeah. So, what's the next step?
For tonight, we're going to go back to the villagers and let them know what our current plan is. I think in the morning our plan is to regroup. I think, Ferrous, we're regrouping here, right?
I don't know, what are you doing?
I don't know. Where are we regrouping? Or are y'all
Both.
coming to us?
Like,
Here.
You should probably
Yeah.
come here because dragging people around is
Yeah,
not
yeah, okay.
that can't move is kind of a hassle.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, in the morning we'll regroup here, and I believe we're going to approach the fortress at that point, unless something has changed overnight.
She nods. I think that's good. The villagers will want to know that they're safe.
I agree.
She just sort of like gestures down towards the village and just goes, lead the way.
All right. Yeah, I'll probably just like wave to the others to be like, all right, we're going, and then
Okay.
just kind of start walking.
I presume by this point you've dismissed your griffin back to where he belongs, or do you still have him out?
I think I'll keep him around for now.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, he just sort of like he swoops in and like lands next to you.
Yeah.
As you descend. But yeah, you head back into the village, and I will show you the battle map that I never got to use.
Poor Rob.
There we go.
Oh, it was a fully made one.
Oh.
It was a fully modelled
so
one.
sorry.
It's alright.
Fully
Man,
modeled,
that's
it had
bad.
defenses and
Oh.
goddamn.
Oh,
we
look
got
at
to see
them.
it anyway.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Oh, they
Rob.
have a river. What is there? Like a little stream going through.
Yep.
That's the
Oh,
well.
Oh, the graves.
Oh
The
no, the
graves!
graves.
Oh no. Oh, the graves.
Oof.
Goddamn.
Ah.
It even has like the faint leftover smoke haze that's animated, which I found a very cool tool to do.
We just totally ignored it.
It's okay.
We just said, fuck it, we're not fighting in the village.
So sorry.
It's okay.
Oh.
Like next time, just be like, "Oh, the neighboring village is under attack."
Oh. You just bring this map out and just flip it.
It's alright.
Oh.
No, you head back into town and are sort of your arrival is greeted by Kreve and Kraxus and the others, who are just sort of like standing by the tavern. Like most of them have got like their weapons nearby to the ready as you enter. And I think Kreve just sort of like steps forward and says, "It was a success then."
It was.
And your
We
comrades?
do have... Oh, sorry, what did he say?
And your comrades.
They're all fine. They're staying at the camp overnight that we found. We have a bit of news to share, which is why we, like, gestures to Thesira, we came back here.
Kreve nods, smiles, and says, "I'm glad. I will admit to fearing the worst when I saw that only the two of you returned.
Oh yeah. Ooh, I didn't think about that.
It's fine.
Oh well, it's fine.
No. The rest, everybody is alright. We, at worst, suffered minor injuries. I don't think anybody actually got, like, seriously hurt from that, did they?
I don't know. Did I get
Well, I
hurt?
think we still have like our hit points that we had.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Grim got kind of like beaten up a little bit. Kelariis, you took some damage. Arya got a scratch, and one direwolf was killed. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I took any damage.
Yeah. I mean, me and Grim are fine. Grim's taken worse before, it's fine.
Yeah.
Taken much worse.
Yeah. Grim's had much worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm like I'm at
You're basically at
137
full.
out of 170, so it's like
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
blows that would have killed a lesser man. But
Yeah, Grim's just flexing out on the hill. Like, I'm fine, lads.
look, it's been a trend recently. Enemies just crit me all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. You do get a lot of crits against you.
But-
Because they know you can take it.
Yeah.
Magnet.
yeah,
Fine.
that's probably what Grim is doing at the tent. He's just got like a plate, like a wooden thing, and he's just like straightening all the dents out of his armor.
Yeah.
They're not. They're not the only ones who know he can take it, if you know what I mean.
Wow. Moving swiftly onwards.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, to make it a little brief, I'll relay the not every single detail, but the general idea of what we're up to going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you telling them the strategy, or like, are you just telling them that you're going to the fortress?
I think that we're going to the fortress and going to. I think Kelariis says it confidently and says, we're going to resolve the situation and make sure that they're not bothering you or the other villages nearby.
Okay.
Yeah, and they know about the I guess it's probably a dragon at this point. Do they know about that? We've asked them about that.
Yeah, I think they mentioned it briefly. They know of its existence.
Yeah, I guess we'll probably also throw in there that we are probably going to see what we can do about that. At the very least, look into it.
Creed like nods through the whole thing and just sort of says, "That's incredibly brave that you're not only considering taking on an army, but a fortress and then potentially a dragon."
LOL.
Well,
Done it before.
yeah,
So brave.
the dragon we've done before. Well, in the situation, or excuse me, in regards to the fortress, we may not fight them outright, but we'll do what is necessary. We want to avoid bloodshed as much as possible.
He sort of like considers that for a moment and sort of says, "I'm not sure they'd do the same, but I won't question your methods."
I understand that that may seem like a bit of a strange route to go, but if we go in there and do the same things that they would do, that makes us no better. But I also understand your hesitation, and I appreciate that you'll respect what we're attempting to do here.
Yeah, he just sort of like gestures palm up and just sort of says, "I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I've seen more than enough things that have made me understand perhaps what you're capable of in these last couple of hours. I won't presume to tell you how to do what it is that you do. Just be careful."
We will. Thank you. For
And
tonight, though, if you don't mind, we'll stay here with the rest of you.
he smiles and says, "Well, can't exactly turn down our saviors now, can we? And I'm sure there's plenty of people here who would be happy to let you borrow some blankets, have a small meal, and celebrate in what way we can."
I think Kelariis like waves a hand at Savior, so like, no, please no.
He just
Laura,
like
I just love-
he sees you do this, like turns to Thesira and just goes, "Well, it's true."
I just love the fact that Kelariis, despite absolutely hating the idea of this happening, is slowly becoming this like dragonborn legend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you're all becoming legends. I will point that out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like like Kelariis' one is like going in a direction that she isn't quite like no, not like that, please.
And
Yep.
also, Kelariis has like a badass name now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm sure Arya would love to have a name like that, but this is Kelariis we're talking about. I don't think she wants to be known as the Grey Slayer.
The Grace.
Also, Greyslayer's not the not the title I
Yep.
think she wants.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
it's especially as Greyslayer was a title created specifically to you know what it was created to do.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, because you didn't speak to Visastrous.
Yeah, Visastrous had some words to tell me about that, and I was like,
Oh.
ma'am, could you not?
Oh no.
It's fine. Honestly, Visastrous isn't awful. She's just interesting
Yeah.
and very manipulative in a lot of different ways that honestly I kind of respect. Kelariis doesn't know how to feel about, but I kind of respect.
She is very strongly chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Checks out.
But yeah, honestly, I think Kelariis tries to like push the Thesira forward for that.
I think like you like put a hand on Thesira's shoulder, like push it forward, and like there's a moment of like, what are you doing? When do you stop? And then she just like takes the step forward. Is like, yes, I suppose that is at least correct in sentiment.
I'm just like, please give the praise to her.
I don't want it.
Well, at the very least, if there's anything that we can do to assist while we're here, before.
I think at this point, like Kraxus, who's like sort of been standing in the back, like sort of just listening to all of this, like stands up from where he's leaning and just sort of says, "I think you've done more than enough. I think it's our turn to maybe do something for you instead. We don't have much, but we can make some food. I think we've maybe still got a handful of drinks from the tavern, if that's what you like. And, yeah, I think people would like to thank you in their own way." At which point, like, Key, the woman who was acting as the apothecary, steps forward and sort of says, "If either of you are injured, I can try to treat your wounds."
That's cute.
That's very nice, actually. I think I am mostly bruised. Let me double check my hit points. Yeah. I think I'm mostly bruised, but perhaps Thesira.
Yeah, like Thesira's got like a couple of cuts, and she's just like, it's fine, really. I've had worse. At which point Kia's like, "No, please, at least let me do something." At which point, yeah, she like fusses over Thesira for a moment and like cleans her wounds. And she like sort of quietly to Thesira, but still within audible range of view, is like, "Oh, this is the second time I've found myself doing this for you." And Thesira is a bit like, "Yep, again, like I said last time, it's really fine."
Oh, she takes after me.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
Yes, she does. She's
Really?
behind Kelariis and we love it.
Oh my girl.
She's somehow
All the
managed to be
bad
Kelariis,
habits.
but like,
Yeah.
adorable at the same time.
Yeah, I think like as this is happening, like the remaining two Dragonborn are sort of like they bring out like bowls of food and drink and sort of like invite you to either sit outside or come inside by the fireplace. It is starting to get like a little cold up here, like a little uncomfortably cold. And as you're sort of like looking around, it does look like the beginnings of a storm is building up. Oh, excuse me, at least on the other side of the mountain.
Oh boy.
So yeah,
Well, I hope my friends up at that camp are okay.
Oh,
Okay, we've got a Leomund's tiny hut.
Oh, yeah, you have a little hut. That's right. You'll be fine.
It's always nice inside the tiny hut.
it is.
Both looks outside the hut, just hell breaks loose. Like, oh,
Yeah.
All hell's breaking loose outside, and we're just inside, like, so.
The
exactly.
weather,
Yeah, we'll probably go inside then if it's getting
Yeah.
a bit chilly.
Yeah, you head inside and sort of socialize with the Dragonborn for a while. It does give you like feelings reminiscent of being back home or back in Sheun Town, back when you first became a folk hero.
Oh,
Give me an insight check.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
My best insight, but could be worse.
So yeah, like everyone seems to like they're not exactly happy considering the circumstances, but there is a great deal of like relief as people are sort of like chatting and eating and drinking. There is a sense that like a weight has been lifted. And you noticed like that everybody in part tries to sort of like make the atmosphere lighter by like either like telling stories or like making jokes or whatever. But for the whole evening, you notice that like basically Key, the apothecary, is just sort of like she's very sort of quiet, and she either spends the time fussing over Thesira or just sort of like half like watching you out of the corner of her eye, not like in a suspicious way, but just sort of like a like generally her attention is either on you or on Thesira, like throughout the whole evening. But that's what you notice.
Is it the sort of attention of like somebody who might want to talk but doesn't really know how to like approach, or?
With a 14, it's hard to tell, but she's definitely like curious about you.
I think I'll go find some time, or not find some time. Jeez, like it's so difficult. Like
Yeah.
I'll go and sit with her at some point.
Yeah, like
and just-
make a space where it's just the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so like you sort of you go over and sit next to her, and she just sort of like goes on, like focuses like eating her food and drinking her drink. And there's like a brief pause before anything is said. Do you start the conversation or do you just wait?
God, I also wanted to say I just ask her how's the weather, but that's the worst way to start a conversation. Oh no. I think I'll give her a moment. But if she doesn't like say anything right away, I'll just.
Yeah, she pauses like briefly, like finishes like the end of her drink, turns to you and says, "I have to confess, I watched you fight. Or at least what I could see from the safety of the village."
Okay, I guess we weren't really that far away, huh?
We were literally up a hill.
Yeah.
Like, my lightning bolt probably travelled significantly.
I mean, yeah,
off the hill.
they heard the
They
massive
definitely heard the
noise.
thunderclap, and they definitely saw the giant lightning bolt streak off the
Yeah.
top of the hill.
God, we must be terrified of these.
Yeah.
Yep.
They heard wolves howling, they heard a roll of thunder, saw a lightning bolt, and then we came back with minor injuries after,
Yeah.
after fighting 20 people.
Yeah. Yeah. She sort of says, I watched you fight. You are certainly remarkable. You and your friends, but
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself any more remarkable than my friends or other people.
I think she puts like the bowl down that she has in her hands and just sort of like turns to you like hands like laid on top of each other in front of her, and she just says, "It's just that I have seen soldiers fight before. Most of them are very regimented about it. It is something that they have to do, and they have a way that they go through doing it. Watching you was different."
Well, I mean, I started my training as a soldier, but I wasn't part of the army for particularly long.
She sort of nods and says, "I thought as much. You don't have the demeanor of a soldier. I mean no offense by that, just..."
Oh, none taken. Honestly, that's quite nice to hear.
Question, are you still wearing your armor at this point?
Probably because we did just come back down here and
Yeah.
then... Yeah.
Okay.
So probably.
So you're still wearing it for the moment, just sort of like waiting for the right moment to take it off.
Yeah.
I think she sort of like reaches out a hand towards your armor and just says, "May I?"
Sure. I don't know what she's asking. But sure.
I mean, I'm getting some real vibes off of this girl.
Luka, we can't do this every time!
I mean, I might be projecting, but...
Wow.
Luka, we can't do this every single time.
Why not?
Also, I think isn't she older? Not like super old, but... Or she our age.
Since when is that a
Well,
problem?
I say our age, but...
Shut up, you.
How-
She could be my mom if she's older.
How old? You're 16, right?
Yeah.
She's
yeah, I
she's
think
only
that's
4 years
right.
older than you.
Oh, okay. Fuck. Okay. For some reason, I thought she was like my mom's age or something. I was
No.
like, damn, what's happening?
No.
Okay.
No.
There are 3 female Dragonborn that you have met since getting here. One of them is 20, one of them is 19, and one of them, who's probably the one that you're thinking of, was the Weaver woman, who is like 32.
Oh, she's okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah, the two dudes are much older. They are 30 and 44.
Ugh, these
Oh, hang
old
on,
men.
she's 20. That's the same age as Elizabeth.
But in Dragon.
But in Draconic, she's a little older. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's 20 years old, but that makes her more matured
yes.
because Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of people are more mature than Elizabeth.
Ayo.
Wow.
Oh my god.
I mean, you're
I
not
honestly-
wrong, but wow.
Not to dunk on Elizabeth or play up my own character, but I think Kelariis is more mature than Elizabeth is sometimes.
Yep.
I'm not arguing that anyone here is less mature than Elizabeth, but wow.
But yeah,
Let's
she
point that out.
sort of like like puts a hand on your plates and just sort of like I guess I don't know the best way to describe what she does, but she basically like checks like or like tests how like how much mobility you have like in them. Like she like rolls the pad around to see how much it like moves.
Huh.
Sorry.
Luka! Luka!
It's not just Luka.
But she sort of like moves the pad around and just sort of says, "I expected it to be more difficult to move in. I mean, I can imagine it's heavy, but you move in it like it's no effort at all."
That's because I'm buff. Luka! Wait, I need a second.
Oh my god.
I think we all need a second.
Yeah, that was not what I was expecting for Luka to send a message in the chat. Fucking hell.
I mean, I know what I was thinking when she was like testing how far it could move, but like, I don't know what Luka was thinking. I'm imagining it was similar.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Maybe even worse.
Get your minds out of the gutter.
No,
I
I refuse.
Sorry, so she said that she was expecting it to be harder
Yeah,
to move in.
I expect it would be harder to move. I expect it's heavy, but you make it look effortless.
Well, I will say that I have partially my training in the army to thank for that, but considering how often I have had to wear this and for long periods of time, I think that I've just grown very accustomed to carrying this weight.
That's deep, man.
That is pretty fucking deep.
Yeah,
It's the weight of the armor.
I think she also recognizes that there is a deeper aspect to it. Like, sort of just sits there with like the hand on the pauldron for a moment, before realizing that she's just sitting there with her hand on your shoulder, and she just sort of quickly takes her hand away and just sort of says, "Yes, I can imagine. Well, I'm glad it keeps you safe, and Thesira too. She's a good kid with a
She is.
valiant heart."
Very much so. She used to get into a lot of trouble too when I first met her. Just children's stuff, nothing bad, but
She chuckles and just says, "Yes, I think I know the type. My nephew is similar. Always off playing soldiers and getting himself into scrapes."
it seems that attracts a lot of the younger kids. I mean, I guess I am one to talk. I found myself in the same position for a while, but
She sort of nods and says, "Well, military service comes for us all in the end, but for some of us that's time working in a kitchen or handling supplies. It's not always front lines. I hope he grows up in time to realize that, well, that it isn't all fun and games."
I hope so as well. If he wants to do something that isn't part of... Well, no, actually, Kelariis wouldn't say that because she knows that that's a big fucking thing. Never mind. I take that back. I didn't say
Okay.
that sentence at all. I was like, I'm gonna offer him to come to us, and I was like, wait, no, that means he's deserting an army. I can't encourage this. Kelariis thinks that's not a big deal because of, well...
Yeah.
Kelariis, yeah. She knows better.
Yeah.
I'm sure the... Oh, sorry.
No, you carry on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm sure though, if he has a good heart and if he cares, I think that he'll be alright.
Yeah, she just sort of nods and says, I've thought about him a lot recently. I had, before recently, never really been all that acquainted with death, despite my training.
It's different, I think. Well, it's different to hear about it or to have to learn about it, especially from what I understand as a healer's point of view. Kind of just like looking to her for confirmation that I understood that correctly.
Yeah, she nods and says, when I saw it either in my training or in my time in service, it was distance. It was just another professional requirement, but I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm burdening you with this.
No, please don't apologize. If you want to talk about it, it's fine, but I won't push. I understand, though. It's different when it happens to those around you, to those that you've lived with, or have come to know.
She sort of like nods quietly.
Where is your nephew? In one of the other villages near here, or?
She shakes her head and says, no, down by the coast. Hopefully a long way from all of this.
Do you know what part? My family's from that area is the only reason I ask.
I don't remember the name of where he is from, but oh, it's not marked on the world map.
Rip.
Yeah, no, she describes us basically like a small fishing village south of the Platinum Throne, so like a reasonable distance from Kuma Village and Port Cartel.
Oh, right. Well. If I happen to see him in the area, if you'd like, I can. Well, I don't know when I'll be back around there, but I can pass on a message if I did somehow manage to run into him. Not that I necessarily expect that, but we go strange places sometimes.
She nods and smiles and says, "Thank you. I appreciate the thought, but I wouldn't even know what to say.
I understand.
Not that wouldn't be strange coming from a stranger."
Yeah, Clara's kind of just like dips her head, like, yeah, all right, that's fair.
What of your family?
Oh, they are down the coast as well. I come from a fishing family, so taken a very different path, to say the least, than most of them.
She sort of nods and says, "Yes, I can imagine." For most of my family, it's been fishing, carpentry, weaving, that sort of thing. I was always more interested in what I could do for people. So herb lore and medical care seemed like a natural extension of that. And then when they were looking for volunteers to head out into the mountains and expand the borders, I thought, what better way to start a new life, meet new people? A grand dream, really.
I think we are two different sides of the same, or at least a very similar coin in that respect. I wanted to join the army because I wanted to protect people. I learned fairly early on that that's not all that the Legion really intended to do. Probably wasn't even always the priority. At least in the way that I wanted.
And so you struck out on your own.
May have upset a couple of officers in the process, but yes, more or less.
I see where Thesira gets it from.
I hope that I haven't imparted too much of that on her, but maybe the spirit of it all, I would be glad to know.
She sort of just smiles and watches like Thesira for a moment, who is just off on the other side, like talking and enjoying the time with people. And she just sort of, I guess she sort of stands up and sort of says, "Well, it's been a long day, so I suppose I won't keep you any longer, unless I can get you another drink."
I think one more would be good. Thank you.
She stands up and like takes your mug and goes away and gets some more. Yeah, and you're just sort of left. Like she will continue the conversation if you're interested in continuing the conversation, or you can just sort of leave her be.
I mean, I think it's been nice talking to her.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll stick around and chat.
Okay. Yeah. You spend a reasonable amount of time sort of like swapping stories and like just generally conversing with one another for quite some time. Give me another insight roll.
Ferrous. Ferrous! Luka, stop laughing.
Okay.
We're getting up there, lads.
She likes you.
Yeah, she is
God
she
damn
is
it.
definitely
Luka.
like
What's that laugh?
What was that laugh?
she is at the very least sort of smitten.
Oh.
Oh,
Aw.
she's very sweet though. What is happening? Kelariis doesn't know how to handle this.
Oh, this is like emotions. What? Affection?
No,
Oh
it's-
no.
Oh no, it's not even that. It's the same thing as with Cal, where she's like, I don't know if that's what I want right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got things to do, but I'm also flattered. Also, she's very nice. Like, I don't think Kelariis definitely doesn't bring it up.
Yeah.
And like, if he chooses not to bring it up at all, like, we can just have this really nice chill time and like chat and hang out, and like that's
Yeah.
totally cool with me.
Yeah, she's definitely like very into hanging and talking to you, but she definitely does not like broach the subject in anywhere near the same way. But it is very clear that like she is like hanging on your every word.
Aw.
She likes you.
What? Kelariis doesn't. No, she understands, but she doesn't understand.
I mean,
My
all
poor
you
daughter.
did, it's all you flex those big dragon muscles. and she
It's
was
just
like,
what I got.
"Want
It's
me
just when I
some of that?"
flex.
Flex
Is
those
that
big old
Luka
muscles.
speaking?
No, maybe.
Luka's projecting. Oh my
Yep.
god.
Yep. To be fair, I think like maybe we're both projecting a little bit.
God damn it, y'all. Yeah. No. Kelariis is more than happy to just like hang out and talk and chat and let this just be like a nice time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like eventually, like it starts to get late. People don't really have homes to go to, so they just sort of like most people are just sort of like curled up on blankets in the corners. Thesira like sort of grabs a bench and like snuggles up in her bedroll. And eventually, it's just the two of you left, and he just sort of stands up, says, "Well, it's been lovely, but I think we both could use some rest."
Definitely. Thesira and I at least have a long day ahead of us tomorrow, and so do all of you. But it has been very nice.
Well, once your task is accomplished, I hope you come back. It would be nice to see you again. Thank you for everything properly.
I think it would be nice to come back just to visit. Regardless. No extra thanks necessary.
She just sort of smiles and says, "You're..." And please don't take this the wrong way, surprisingly modest for someone of your abilities. You're prepared to ride into the... Well, if you'll pardon the saying, into the dragon's den itself for us, and you hardly know us. I'd say that was deserving of thanks, but I guess she sort of like gestures around at like all of the people who have just like turned over and like gone to bed, and she sort of says, "We're just a small community, but we look after our own, and if you need a place to call home, then we'd love to be part of that."
Wow, that was very forward.
Damn!
That's not how she means it.
I know that. Luka's got her head somewhere else.
No, just in general, like not even from a shipper angle.
Yeah, she's like. Yeah.
Anyway,
I would be honored that you would offer such a thing. I do think that for the moment my home is in several places, so I would be lucky to count this place among them. But truly, thanks enough is knowing that those of you here, will be able to continue your lives as best you can.
I think she looks up, like looks out of the window and just says, "I think that'll be... It's really all that we could ask for."
Then I'm glad to have helped in any way. I think Thesira would also say the same. Just look over to where she's sleeping.
Yeah. She's just like completely out.
Yeah, honestly valid. Fair.
it's been a long
Understandable.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just sort of smiles and says, "Well, if I don't see you before you leave, then best of luck."
Thank you, and take care. You and everyone else.
She departs and finds a place to curl up.
Yeah, I'll probably find a place like near Thesira, but not like right next to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking take off my heavy ass armor.
Yep.
It's sitting in it all night.
She
Fine.
pretends to be asleep, but is actually watching.
Okay, so you all go to sleep. The rest of you at camp, is there anything that you want to go over between you, or do you just set up camp and go to bed?
Well, I think we should probably inform the wounded that we're bringing them back, because that might also prevent them from attempting escape.
Okay. Well,
Um,
two of them are in absolutely no condition to do that. The third guy is sort of he seems resigned to his fate for the moment.
Yeah. And I was considering, Elizabeth, should we set up an alarm, or do you think you got it covered, Arya?
I mean, I think I'll be okay.
I think we should.
I'll wake half the night anyway.
Yeah, well, I think we should keep the. We should get everybody in Liam's tiny huts, including
Yeah, you
the
can.
wounded.
You can definitely fit the wounded inside. In fact, you could just cast Leomund's tiny hut inside the tent.
Why don't we just
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like the reason why I'm mentioning it is because, like, it's we're still sleeping with complete strangers.
True.
And in the tiny huts, there's the little opportunity to react.
Can the three of you give me medicine checks, by the way?
Oh no!
Yeah, sure.
This guy with the stab wound's gonna die.
Ah! Fucking
Wow.
nailed it.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Elizabeth, you as sort of a thing while you're setting this encampment up, you check over the incapacitated like injured. The guy with the stomach wound is definitely in a critical condition. Like he will probably survive the night, but whether or not he will survive being moved on a journey without some sort of medical attention, or magic, is it's dicey. The guy who has the head wound, all of his vital signs are stable, but he is it is possible that he is comatose in one way or another. It does not seem like he will be getting up and moving around of his own accord anytime soon. And the guy who is conscious but wounded, his essentially his upper body is like scratched and covered in minor injuries. His biggest problem is that he basically has like a hamstring injury, which means like he's not in combat shape. He could move, but he would be like slow and would potentially need assistance.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think any of us have healing magic.
Arya does.
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. Like I didn't
I just
have
like
it
never
prepped.
use it.
Well,
Arya also has the ability to like assist people with natural healing. So.
oh yeah. Okay. Well, I was
Right,
going to
right.
suggest just the healer's kit, but
That would also work.
Yeah, that's
well,
what
if Arya needs anything, there's the healer's kit. But she's a clever girl, so.
Clever.
Fucking hell. Don't talk about her like you talk about a dog.
I mean, like, I wouldn't. I don't even think I would talk about a dog that way.
Wow, you wouldn't even talk to a dog like that.
Yeah, you're talking to Arya like that.
Wow.
Or shame.
No, I'm messing with you.
Fine.
Do I need healing magic, or do do I know that my other stuff would be adequate?
Your resting bonus will be useful for the guy who has a hamstring injury, but it probably won't help the guy who is in a critical condition. You will need a medicine check or a like actual healing magic to stabilize the guy who is in a critical condition.
If I fail my medicine check, can I still use healing magic?
Yes, provided you don't make it worse.
See, that's what I'm worried about. Even though I have a
I mean,
+7.
Think of it like this.
Yeah. Well,
We're going straight to bed.
Yeah, you have a +7, and your Minnie has a healing kit. Oh, sorry, Grim has a healing kit that you can use. So you can weigh the odds pretty heavily in your favor. You're not proficient in. Oh wait, no, there is no proficiency for healer's kit, is there?
No, but I am proficient.
There's only a feat. There's a feat.
Yeah, I was gonna say with a feat there is, right?
But like we don't have that.
Yeah, there's a special feat that buffs.
But that doesn't give you proficiency. That just increases what you can do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like basically, what it does is it allows you to bypass the stabilizing check.
Yes.
And that's all it does.
Yeah.
Well, and RP reasons, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So you can make me a medicine roll with your proficiency.
Okay.
Is there a way I could help?
Yes.
Cool. I'd like to.
Wait, are you proficient in medicine?
I can. I'm not proficient in medicine, no.
Then I will say in this specific circumstance you can't help. Just because you're trying to stabilize like bleeding on an internal wound.
Yeah.
Which without proficiency is difficult enough.
True.
But yeah, it's that's enough to keep him stable. He is definitely not better, but he is not going to die anytime in the near future.
Oh, I haven't rolled yet.
Oh, I thought that was your roll.
No.
No,
That was her initial medicine roll.
Yeah, go ahead and roll then. Sorry, my bad.
It doesn't fucking matter.
I reiterate what I said previously.
For fuck's sake. God damn it! Why was it the same?
No, same is good. He is stable, but not better.
It was just funny because I was like, "Oh, that's not my roll." It fucking won that.
That's not my roll.
Okay.
Roll 20 said, "Are you sure about that?"
Are you sure about
Look,
that?
So
dice won't ever change the past.
whilst the rest of you are sleeping, Arya, can you make me a perception check, please, with advantage?
Well, also, like, I don't know if it's scene worthy, but like,
Oh yeah.
Elizabeth is trying to make small talk with Arya. I don't know how receptive Arya is. Elizabeth just doesn't want to be hated.
I mean, you could just make regular small talk among yourselves. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like that's a thing that happens all the time. Arya's just not talkative in general.
Yeah. It's not like I'm a child.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the point. Elizabeth's trying to egg more words out. Like, yeah.
Truly the best way to make someone like you. Force them to speak.
Well,
Yeah.
no, it's like she's not trying to force.
Make them
like,
socialize.
asking more direct questions than usual.
Yeah. Still think that's a similar problem, but sure.
It's fine.
I mean, I guess Arya will respond as long as they don't get too.
Yeah, you.
If you try to ask, if you try to ask about certain, she is definitely gonna not answer you.
Oh, yeah, she's definitely not asking things like, "What are the letters you're receiving?" But she is being like, "What did you used to do for fun as a kid?"
Arya's like, I did not have a childhood.
Wow.
Arya's a real fun one to have at parties.
You had like centuries of
I
childhood.
like to think that Arya says that, even though it's blatantly not true.
Yeah,
It
like
was
you
just
had.
to fuck with her.
Yeah.
You don't know what elves do for fun? We sit around and stare at trees.
It was just like, so what? Meditating?
We watch trees grow.
Watch trees grow.
I commune with nature, which is me.
That's probably one of the only things I can think of that's more boring than watching paint dry.
Yeah.
Oh man. Also,
Yeah,
Arya's not centuries old. She is 1 century old.
Yeah, one century and a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had like decades of childhood. Meanwhile, Elizabeth's been around 2 decades.
What age do elves mature at?
I think
You,
elves are considered physically mature, like, for a while, but they're still considered kids until they're 100.
yeah, you essentially reach the age of maturity around 100. Yes.
Right.
So yeah, you had decades of childhood.
You like
Look,
Elizabeth has had
no matter how
2
often you
decades
say
of
it,
life.
Arya will still say no.
Yeah.
But unlike regular elves, instead of spending like 20 years growing into adolescence, Arya grew for like 40 something because she's a ladron. But
We're different, yo.
yeah,
Elves,
Anyway.
man.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not like too crazy, she'll like.
yeah. You engage in mundane small talk between the two of you.
She's just trying to be civil and maybe get Arya to like her more.
I feel like small talk is not going to achieve that goal, but I mean.
Okay.
No, but Elizabeth's so socially awkward as it is, let alone trying to.
So Arya, as you are keeping watch in the evening, there is you are not disturbed in any way. Like your the prisoners that you have, the one with the gut injury like stirs occasionally in his sleep. The guy who appears to be comatose like hardly moves at all. And the other guy sleeps incredibly fitfully. There are several times where he just wakes up, like just watches you because you're obviously just meditating and like keeping an eye on him. And he is clearly very unnerved by the fact that you seem to be awake whenever he wakes up. He's just generally kind of freaked the fuck out by you.
I mean, that's fair.
But that aside, about 6 hours into your rest, it begins to rain, and it eventually escalates from a small drizzle to a reasonable downpour. Like it's not a full-blown like rainstorm, but it is. You will get wet if you go outside the dome quite quickly. And with your ranger knowledge, this is probably going to set in for a little while, maybe a day or so.
Oh, fun. Now we get to drag them through the rain. Do we see any sign of the dragon?
Do you go specifically looking for it? Because you are inside the dome, inside the tent. So unless you go
No, I
outside the
guess I
dome and look
wouldn't.
for it, then no, you do not.
That's sad.
If it is out there, it flies very quietly compared to the rain, and you obviously don't see it because it doesn't land and look into the tent.
Oh my god! Can you imagine?
Bro, could you imagine?
Yep.
It's just like, hello!
Oh hey there, what you doing?
Peter. To be fair, he'd just see like an
Why,
open
hello
dome and be
there.
like, the fuck?
Wow, that would be actually crazy.
Like yeah, it's completely opaque from the outside. They wouldn't be able to see in and see us.
Yeah.
We'd just be able to see out and see that there's a fucking dragon there and be freaked out.
But yes, you see no signs of the dragon. Not that you go looking for it.
No.
Yeah, and eventually, like the next morning comes around, you all wake up. It is raining pretty gross. I wonder if I can hang on. Can I do this?
Oh. What is
This is the village.
oh, yeah, that is the village.
If I do. Does this work? It does. There we go. Yay! It's raining.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys can see that.
If I zoom in. Actually, do I see that? No.
Let
Wait, is this...
me try moving you off and back on.
Like, I assume it's supposed to be raining over the image?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
never
I
mind.
don't see it either. Is it on a different layer?
No, it's just an effect that should be playing as part
Oh,
of the
oh.
map. But
But
Huh.
I'm gonna
Oh,
check.
well.
I've got a traveler's cloak. I do. Just pull some traveler's clothes on over my fine clothes.
okay, yeah, you like hood up and get ready for the wet weather. But yeah, otherwise you've all completed a long rest and can do your regular long rest stuff. In the village, Kelariis and Thesira, you are the first people to wake.
Yeah, that tracks.
Whilst the rest are farmers who would usually be up at the crack of dawn, it seems like they are taking this opportunity to just rest for as long as they can after having many sleepless nights recently.
Well, I guess we're headed out.
Okay, so you reconvene at the camp.
Yeah, and like assuming that like we've kept everyone in attendance was just gonna go. Well, transporting them through the rain's going to be interesting, to say the least.
Well, Lyra can carry at least one of them.
Well, I did have an idea. Although,
Wait, what is your idea?
I mean, actually, no. What I was thinking of is way smaller than I thought it was, so it's probably not efficient for carrying a person.
I mean, if Lyra's willing to carry one of them, my griffin is still around.
That is true. Although, given that we do have to be careful with how we transport them, given, you know, the state they're in.
Well, what we do is we make a sled, essentially.
A sled.
Well, like you just like a sled is maybe maybe an overly fancy word for it, but we've got these tents. They're not going to use them. We use the cloth off the tents to make like bedding on some long pieces of wood, and then we just like basically hang the two pieces of wood over, like either we can have it on our shoulders or we can have it hang over Lyra, or it's kind of like a makeshift way to drag people around whilst keeping them somewhat stable.
Bear in mind, you do know, and Thesira would remind you that there is a significant portion of the pass that is collapsed from the ambush.
Yeah.
Wait, how did the chromatic group get over here then? Did they just climb over?
Yeah, like you it is enough that you can climb over it, but like dragging a sled or a
to
cart or
drag.
whatever over is going to be difficult.
Right. I see.
Well, like,
It's not impassable. It is just
A pain.
difficult.
Yeah, well, like this is not going to be a smooth sled, but it's better than carrying. Smoother than carrying usually.
Yeah.
Best like on one hand, I think if we want to do better, we basically have to lift it on both ends. But like, I don't think we can carry all three if we do that.
Like stretchers.
Yeah, like on stretchers. Well, okay, so let's see. We've got the one with the head injury. Moving him will probably be fine. Like we can basically throw him over anyone's shoulder.
Well, maybe don't throw him.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like hamstring guy also should be safe to carry. Can even say something if
he can walk on his own with like a crutch or something. He's just not combat ready.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, but like it's just the only problem is somewhat dubious if they're gonna live guy. Actually, could we just pump some healing in him?
I mean,
See
we
if he-
could.
Oh yeah, I mean I could try to heal him if we want to.
Like
do
just
that.
make if he wakes up, should probably say like look at the other Dragonborn. If we wake up your friend healthy, can you calm him down? Say we're on the way back to your fortress to just hand you back sounds weird, but
I'll do my
set
best.
you free. Don't want to have to knock him out.
Oh my god, can we just get him stable? We don't have to wake him up.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, we could stabilize it.
yeah, well, like we don't really know how good he is till we wake him up. Well, like honestly,
So-
if you can do it, do it.
If he is currently stable on 0 hit points, effectively, but because he's not a hero, he will not like regenerate health without
Yeah.
medical attention. If you heal him, he will go to 1 hit point. He will still be absolutely like wiped from having a massive internal bleeding, but he will be alive and in no danger of immediately relapsing until you stab him again.
Okay, well,
Yeah, we're not gonna do that. So
that's not the plan currently. Yeah, I'll heal him. Like if I dump like 5 lay on hands into him, is that enough? Or does
That
he
will
need
put him
more
on
than
5 hit points. So
that? Like literally, if I give him 1 hit,
you
point,
can give
he'll be
him
alive.
1 hit point with lay on hands.
Okay, yeah, I'll fucking do that.
Okay. So you lay on hands on him. Like he sort of starts a little. His friend like puts his hand on him. And like just starts talking to him in Draconic. Those of you who understand Draconic, he essentially relays to him. Lay still, don't move. The battle is over. We lost. We are currently being held hostage, but we're. It looks like things might be all right. That we're being taken back to the fortress. At which point he's like sort of awake, like looking around. He looks like. I mean, he looks like a man who just died for a short period. But
Yeah.
he
How did that
is.
feel?
He is like he is kind of in full blown panic, but he's like just frozen in place. As his like companion calms him. Yeah, he's stable, alive, extremely terrified, and probably not in a great condition health wise, but he's in no immediate danger of dying.
Well, I guess it might have been nicer to leave him unconscious due to the potential pain, but I guess this way at least we'll know if he's okay.
What about the other one?
Should we do the same? I'm not as concerned.
Is
But
he
it might-
currently in danger of dying?
No, he is stable, but appears to be in a coma, or at least comatose.
Like, how about
wanna-
we
I don't know if I want to fuck. I guess that's magical healing, so it'll be
Like,
okay. But
how about we heal him when we get there?
okay, sure.
Sounds like a plan.
I will defer to the medical I hesitate to say expertise, medical knowledge of Arya and or Grim.
See, it's not so much expertise as just a strategic decision.
I would not
that's-
like rely on Grimm's medical expertise with his grand wisdom of 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arya's medical expertise. We'll defer to that.
I'm gonna put
See-
3.
My medical expertise makes me carry around a healer's kit,
Yep.
Yep.
which is more of the be prepared strat more than the I know stuff strat.
Which, fair enough.
He's got a
God.
healer's kit, which probably includes how to use all.
Grim is the sport. I hesitate to say parent, but like a coach who has so many first aid supplies but doesn't know how to use any of them.
He's just like,
Yep.
here, have this. And it's
Well,
like just a box
I
of
will
it.
say with a wisdom of 8, Grim knows how to tie a bandage and maybe do a tourniquet and a sling, but that is the extent of what he knows.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Oh,
Like
we'll give them
also,
that.
like having fought and stuff, like you learn that kind of stuff, even though you're no experts.
Yes.
Yeah. That's...
He
I might not be able to judge
Yeah.
exactly when it's necessary, but I know about it.
he can save you from dying. He cannot tell you whether your rash is going to kill you.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good.
Sneak out Grim when you're dying, and he might be able to save you. Got it.
Here's also I've just how long does this last?
Yeah.
Probably not long enough. Never mind. I'm just looking at my spells.
I still
might be useful.
I still suggest we for the bits that we can, we just fashion a little stretcher or like the sled stretcher style thing.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, if it's something we can turn into a sling, I think that my Griffin could probably just carry injured people over, and the rest of us can climb.
Well, I assume this tent canvas is good enough for sling.
Yeah.
Human-sized sling.
Yeah,
To just pick up between claws, I imagine would work.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
also
would
works.
100% work.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Do
we're
that.
sorted for traveling, I think.
Yeah. So actually,
Yeah.
if you're making those compensations with carrying people on the Griffin / with the Griffin and Lyra, I'm going to say it's probably not going to slow you down too much, because those who are actually incapacitated can be carried by the large creatures, and the rest of you can just walk normally. So yeah, I will say it takes about a day of traveling on foot, like almost a whole day, to the point where it's getting towards like the sun is setting again by the time you get to the other side of this pass. You do have to clamber for a while to get over the rock slide, and the rock slide is not insignificant. You can very clearly see what Sidani and Thesira meant by they blasted a chunk out of this mountain and it fell into the canyon, and there are like definitely signs like there's a like bits of wood sticking out that are quite clearly a crushed like supply wagon for the Imperial Legion, and like there's like strewn bits of armor like lying around in the amongst the wet rock. Grim as a strategic thinker, like this was a good ambush. Like this was well thought out, and they would not have had a chance. Like if they weren't expecting it, it would have been deadly. And you can see how they lost to inferior numbers.
Make numbers don't not count, or well, to a degree. We just dump a lot of crap on someone. But yeah.
Numbers
Yeah, if you dump the side of a mountain on somebody, it turns out
Yeah,
that really messes them up.
pretty effective.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually, after several hours of climbing, you will arrive quite tired, but still enduring at... Oh, for goodness sake, I keep almost deleting a page instead of moving to it. You arrive basically at the crest of this mountain, overlooking this fortress that is like built on a plateau that like overlooks the valley that it falls down into, and the valley falls away into like a short distance. What's the best way to describe this? Okay, so you as you leave this pass, you come out onto this flat plateau, where there is a lake, not like a massive lake, but a sizable lake that is quite clearly like the collection point for the bowl for the all the water runoff on this mountain. That is clear. It is obviously the starting point of at least one, if not two, of the major rivers that flow down across the kingdom. And this fortress is like, it basically has like an outer curtain wall with some inner buildings, just sitting up on a raised section above this like looking down to this lake plateau. You can stay out of general line of sight of it as long as you hug like the cliff or like the mountainside wall that like runs alongside you, and get to the path that leads up. But approaching this place is very difficult. Like this is again a very strategically placed defensive position. You wouldn't want to try and siege this with an army because there's a very thin approach route, and to get an army across it, you would be being shot at most of the time.
Damn.
What you do is you cut off the food supply.
Yep. Yeah, you don't attack, you don't assault, you siege.
Yeah. Well,
Or you send in a very precise strike team to take them all out instead.
yeah, but like that doesn't even count at this point. It's like we're like you say a precise strike team. We're like more like a sledgehammer.
Yeah,
Like,
What?
well, like,
yes.
is there anything precise about us most of the time?
Arya,
let's be honest,
right?
Arya's
Arya's-
nice, but Elizabeth
but,
will
like-
probably just throw a fireball at the main
Yeah.
gate until
See,
it
like-
burns.
We have like Arya, like we put like a laser pointer on our target's forehead, and then we destroy the building. Like, and then it's like, why did we bother aim for the guy? Like, I don't know. Just the entire building fell over.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah, like I said, like assault. If we did a precise strike team, Elizabeth would just throw fireballs at the main gate.
But we can still make our way up there, right? Even though it's a little.
Well, the question is, how do you want to approach?
Um.
On one hand, I feel like taking an approach that's like not super obvious is good, but on the other hand, that doesn't look so great if we're trying to like walk in to speak with them. But also, they might just shoot us, so we're kind of fucked no matter what.
Is the white flag a
Ask-
concept in this world?
Ask their Chromatic if he has any advice. To any
I mean,
flags.
if we put the prisoners first, they probably won't shoot at us.
Well, that depends. I don't know. How highly do you guys rate your own kin?
Jesus.
Look, I don't know how. Like, these people are desperate.
I mean, look, is the white flag a thing in this world? We could just raise a white flag.
That did work the last time, but that was when you were at sea.
Yeah, well, we'll you know, we'll have a white flag. We'll do like a white sheet flag, and then we'll just have the.
Oh God.
Well, we'll have that guy like walk next to us or with us. I'll
Approach
like.
it because we want to talk. We approach it. We come in peace.
Okay.
They also don't fly in the griffin first. That might give the wrong idea.
Oh no, yeah, the Griffin's not. I don't think has been flying for the most part, except for like taking
Yeah.
people over the rock. So it's probably gonna walk in the back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so you're slowly approaching with a white flag and the prisoners up front.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Admittedly, our white flag doesn't quite mean what the usual white flag means, but
Well,
Close enough.
it's
Oh.
like the white flag isn't necessarily we surrender. It's just like
Do not
it's
shoot
like
us.
peace.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like a peace flag.
So as you approach this fortress, those of you with higher perception notice immediately, like as soon as you get within, like as soon as you get basically within minimum crossbow range, there are maybe 6 dragonborn appear in various like guard houses or towers or sections of the wall that overlook the path, and they all have heavy crossbows trained at your group. They don't open fire, but it is very clear that your approach is being watched and monitored by armed forces.
Yeah, that's to be expected.
There also is a like as your approach is noted, there is a flurry of activity, and there probably is like a clamoring or a commotion going on inside of like people being called. You hear like footsteps of people in armor like moving around inside the castle. You probably get within like 50 feet of the main gate before there is a shout from the top of the wall. Probably in common, because they see that not all of you are Dragonborn. And yeah, there is a shout from the top of the wall that just says, hold there and state your purpose.
Well, I guess I'll have to speak up a bit. We're here to return some of your wounded men, and for an audience.
Okay. It falls silent for a short time. Some people come and go from the wall top. A few minutes pass. Somebody else comes to the wall top and calls down, "Send the prisoners forward 10 paces. We will open the gates, and we will talk."
They're not all capable of walking, but we'll move them there instead.
This seems agreeable.
Yeah, I guess we'll just. I guess we'll comply.
Yep. You move the prisoners forward 10 paces. The gate does open. A number of Dragonborn of varying hues approach, armed and armored, but with none of their weapons drawn. And they fan out into like a semicircle, like just in front of you, like to bar the distance between the gate and the prisoners. And a blue dragonborn in a thick like leather hood walks forwards. And as he approaches all of you, you have all seen this dragonborn before.
Dun, dun, dun.
You previously held him prisoner.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, that means he
When
knows
is
that
this?
we'll let him go every now and then.
Like the one that we took back to the ship?
Yes, Vadak.
Ah,
Oh.
damn. He's moving up in the world.
Yeah, honestly.
He definitely doesn't seem to be in charge. He just seems to be the person that is being sent to negotiate.
Well, it could be worse.
Yeah, like he strides forwards, stops like where the prisoners are, like it gives the prisoners a cursory like look over, and calls out to you, to your group, and says, I guess he says, "We will take the prisoners inside. We will talk here."
That is agreeable.
Okay, they take the prisoners, lead them backwards. Vadak and two of the other Dragonborn remain. Vidak like slowly sort of like approaches with his hands in the air until he is within like reasonable speaking distance of you. And I guess the first thing he says is, "I never expected to see any of you again."
Well, I guess we didn't expect to see you either. But we've kind of due to unfortunate circumstances, you kind of attacked the wrong village. However, we've also talked about it, and we understand that last time we didn't really give you much of a solution. We kind of just sent you away with problems. And we have some idea, as you may understand, we would prefer if you don't raid the nearby villages. And we have attempted to come up with an alternative.
Vidak like stands there for a moment and just sort of says, "I was not expecting this to be this kind of negotiation."
What were you expecting?
A mercenary ransom.
I
Do you not
understand.
remember anything about the last time that we met?
Until I arrived, I did not know it would be you.
This is fair.
Very fair. But no.
Then, if you weren't expecting this, does this mean you're not equipped for this situation?
Oh, we'll get to that.
I don't exactly know what it is you're proposing, but if you're here to talk our surrender, then I do not think Warlord Vivir's conditions will... I think at like that point he just pauses and just sort of says, "What are you proposing?"
Well, we realize we can't fix the war between your people and the other Dragonborn. And there aren't, as far as we can see, you're basically you're only going to be able to hold out for so long here. We proposed that we would propose that you move over to some of the uninhabited human lands, where if Dragonborn from what are non-probats called?
The Empire.
Yeah.
Oh, did just Empire? I was just
Say
thinking if
that
there was like a nice term for 'em. Where the Imperial Dragonborn can't directly can't directly take action without other issues. I'm aware that and we are aware that like most likely they would attempt to do so regardless. However, we would be willing to stand in their way to a degree. As in to stop them. And well, if they attack, then I guess then it's our problem to stop that attack. I know that doesn't sound like the great. This may not sound like the greatest deal, because I'm fully aware that it is not ideal. But it's the best thing we could come up with. That might actually lead to your people having, at least your particular group of Chromats, have a time of somewhat peace and a chance to actually build something that isn't, well, doesn't rely on fleeing and raiding and other of such methods to survive.
I see.
I'm going to admit we haven't prepared an area for you to actually live in yet, and it's not going to be easy. But we would be willing to extend a hand in that regard.
So if I am to present this to Warlord Vivir, you are promising safe passage to new lands.
That's what we're offering. And whilst you're there, then we are willing to offer protection. As far as we will do what we can, which I think you may be aware is quite significant. We won't be pushed around by fire.
I've seen you fight. I know what you're capable of. I will bring this to the Warlord. I can make no promises to what he will say to this proposal.
We're aware that it's not an easy proposal, or just not a simple proposal. However, it seems to us like the only way to prevent the harassment of the villages around here, and then hopefully also reduce the amount of bloodshed.
If I might ask, how exactly do you propose to get us past the Empire?
Well,
there will be no crossing the mountains, not so long as the Twilight Hunter seeks to control its domain.
Well, what we were thinking is this is an offer that we want to let you sink in. And I would be lying if I said the initial reason why, almost only reason why we had any interest in this place is this Twilight Hunter, as you call it. If our understanding is correct, this would be a dragon, and the previous dragon was somewhat of a troublemaker, and we were hoping to prevent it from becoming as severe.
Sorry, just the mental image of Grim just like casually being like, "Oh yeah, the last dragon we fought was a bit of a nuisance."
A bit of a rascally troublemaker that one was.
A little bit annoying.
Rascally dragon.
Rawr, I'm a dragon. Who cares?
So overrated.
Oh, exactly.
I think Verdark has listened to all of this, is not quite sure what to make of all of it, and just says, "I will relay your offer to the Warlord, and we will see what he says."
There is one thing that I would like to request, because we didn't actually get an answer, or more so forgot to ask. Because whilst we would be willing to look for this, we are going to look for this being. Would you happen to know, or be able to narrow down the exact location? Because I understood there was a mountain that was off limits. However, we never got to. We were never told.
He gestures to the mountain range behind the fortress and says, "The Twilight Hunter covers this entire domain." And he sort of gestures one side to the other. from one end of the peaks to the other. The warlord sent out patrols to scout the area, and as far as I know, none came back. The warlord will know more, but we have been generally forbidden from the area entirely. Hence why we have made no efforts to cross it.
I know I know we haven't talked too much, but do you think it would be of benefit for us for you to ask the warlord, or do you think we're better off just heading into it? I think the terrain, at least heading in that direction, will be good enough. Because if I heard correctly from the stories, it is attracted by lights in the night.
He just sort of shrugs in a gesture. He doesn't know. And he says, "I will consult with the warlords. It is probably best if you remain here, at least for the moment, until the warlord makes his decision."
Very well. We will do so.
He, at this point, lowers his voice and just sort of says, "If you converse with the warlord, if he asks to speak with you,
Yes.
he is temperamental.
Good to know.
I do not wish this to become another bloodbath."
We're trying our best to avoid that.
He turns back to the other Dragonborn, gives an order, and the three of them return to the gates. The gates are open slightly, and they step inside, and they are closed.
Oh boy.
Well, we've made some big promises. I'm half hoping they don't accept, because it feels like this is going to be a task and a half. But
Yeah.
you're going to need a new squad, the Dragon Guard.
Dragon Guard. Oh my god. I mean,
Amber
I'm
Eagle
still,
Dragon Guard Division.
I'm
Wow.
still hoping we can tame this dragon.
Honestly, Amber Eagle Dragon Guard sounds like just a really terrible spin-off that just tries to turn a turn-based strategy into an RTS.
Oh god.
Wow.
Terrible.
I was gonna say Amber Eagle Dragon Guard sounds like a total war unit.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I think I'm just thinking of Dragon Commander from Divinity, but although that's not really an RTS, but
I've never tried it.
Yeah, whatever.
they were making a new one, but then they put it on hold.
Unfortunate.
Well, not really unfortunate, because now they're making Baldur's Gate 3, but
Oh. Well, in that case, yay.
anyway.
This video is not sponsored.
This video is not sponsored by Baldur's Gate 3. I wish.
Oh man. Give me that money.
Larian Studios, hit me up. I will
will-
do literally anything.
Oh.
But yes, a few moments pass, and then maybe I guess it's probably more like 20 minutes. You're just standing here, trying to shelter as best you can among the rocks from this driving rain. Before the gates crack open again, this time a red dragonborn strides forth. beckons for the group of you to approach, and then as you approach, just sort of says, "The Warlord Vivir will see you."
Does that mean we may enter?
He nods, but holds up a hand and says, "There are conditions."
Do tell.
For starters, furnish no weapons. You may carry them, but any indication of drawing them will be seen as an act of hostility.
All right.
Understood.
The second, the Warlord will bring his own council. They are not to be spoken to. You speak only to the Warlord directly. Those are his conditions.
Anything else we should know?
The Warlord will furnish you with the rest.
I think, unless I'm missing something, this sounds more reasonable.
Okay. So, you are brought to the gates of the fortress.
Why
It
is
is-
there a battle map? Don't like that.
Well,
Oh.
because he expected us to
Well,
be a bit more fighty.
also because it has the potential for this to be turned into a
Yeah.
combat if you screw it up.
Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like our sledgehammer potential is real again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm
yes,
sure it'll be fine.
the main gates are here. You can step inside, and it tracks around up a ramp through another guardhouse, up another ramp, round through a separate guardhouse, in through a an archway that connects the main building to a number of buildings off to the side, and eventually I'll drag you sort of all up. You arrive at the steps of a castle, or the keep at the top, where flanked by two white dragonborn, one of whom has a long scar that leads from their head down through one of their eyes to their jaw, which you recognise as the Udry Stormchaser's second in command from the ship.
Oh shit.
Who pointed a pistol at your head previously the last time you negotiated.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they are like standing off to one side, like the pistol still at one hip, but like brandishing like brandishing like with a cutlass readily available at one side, and another white dragonborn, who is like a tall and very muscular individual. They flank a set of stairs, standing about halfway down, just under the the cover of the roof that is preventing him from being rained on, is a red dragonborn in half plate with a huge greatsword strapped to his back. Standing behind him is a blue dragonborn in a long scholar's robe, who has a staff with a crystalline focus in the top, possibly some sort of wizard. And then standing off to his right, behind him, is another dragonborn, another red dragonborn, who has a ceremonial headdress on that makes her look like a frill-necked lizard.
Nice.
You are unsure what purpose she seems to serve, but she is sort of standing on the sides. The red dragonborn on the steps raises a hand to the five of you, like indicating you to halt, like a short distance from him. And he calls out in a gruff voice and just says, "So, at last I meet the infamous Grey Slayer and companions."
Oh, we sure are starting with that one, aren't we?
We're getting straight in there.
And yet, though you bring steel to my door, you claim to come seeking negotiations.
This is correct.
So then, is it ultimatum or proposition?
This would be a proposition. I assume you haven't been informed of it yet.
I was told. I was told what Vadak was told outside, but I want to hear it from yourselves. Because it sounds to me like you're giving us an ultimatum. To leave or be dealt with.
Leaving is not a requirement. The only demand that we're making is to cease the raiding of nearby villages.
Does the gnome speak for you?
Well, the Grey Slayer works for me.
Damn.
He speaks for himself.
He looks at Grim, then looks back to Kelariis for like confirmation of this.
We work together is the more accurate way of putting it.
Well.
But he speaks, and I and the rest of my friends agree with what he says.
Very well. So speak. Your proposition is that we do not raid the neighbouring villages in exchange for safe passage, was it?
Yes. Of course, before this would occur, we will be going off to deal with the Night Gazer, I believe.
Nope.
Twilight Hunter.
Twilight Hunter. Why did I almost there?
you
Gazer.
were partway there. You had the right idea.
The Night
Twilight
Gazer.
Hunter. Night. It's fine. It's, before any
Honestly,
of this would
Night Gazer is a fucking badass name for a spaceship. Just putting it out there.
Yeah,
that's
that's
pretty good,
true.
actually.
pretty true.
Get on it, Minnie.
But yes. Before any of this would happen, we would go deal with the Twilight Hunter. There we go. But after we've done that, we believe it would, we believe that the best way for the Chromatics in this fortress to have a chance at a more peaceful lifestyle would be to cross the mountains and live on the border of, or within the lands of the humans. Of course, this wouldn't automatically protect you from the Imperial Dragonborn. However, we would be willing to offer protection in that case. I'm not going to say this is an easy. This would be an easy thing to do. But after brainstorming for a long time, it seemed like one of the only feasible options for a peace might not be the right word, but a ceasefire agreement.
So, you and your band of 5 believe that you can bring down an ancient predator of the First Age, provide us safe passage across the mountains where others have failed, and grant us sanctuary on the other side. Is that right?
We believe so. And in order to to prove it to some degree at least, we do not expect an answer that you'll commit to until after we've returned with proof of the Twilight Hunter's demise. Or otherwise, well, I assume that, there might be other ways of handling it, but we assume it will, unfortunately, end in such a manner.
The warlord seems to consider this for a moment and just sort of says, "So, you will go after the Twilight Hunter, and if you come back, then you'll have proof that you are as good as you say you are. And if you don't come back, then, well, you don't come back."
Then there is no agree. Well, then there is nothing. Well, then the offer falls automatically, and there's nothing we can do about it. You're free to do as you please. And if we come back and you still refuse, then all we ask is you cease harassing the villagers, or we will have to take action after. But I doubt it will come to that.
He looks at you and says, "If it weren't for the fact that you've just slaughtered nearly 30 of my men with little help more than a bunch of farmers, I would have called you insane. Now consider me curious. Do what you will. I will consider your offer."
Excellent. There is one minor request.
Hmm.
Would you be to speed or hurry things along to a certain degree? Would you be willing to part with your information on Twilight Hunter?
He looks to the woman with the frill neck headdress. Then back to the blue dragonborn in the robe. The blue dragonborn in the robe approaches the one in the frill necked headdress, whispers into her ear, at which point she takes 2 steps forwards and produces an illusion in thin air. Oh no, sorry, he takes 2 steps forward and produces an illusion in thin air. The illusion is a very crude outline of the mountain range, at which he just he points with his index finger at a like an intersection between two of the mountains, and says, there is a crevice here, barely wide enough for the Twilight Hunter to slip through. It passes through it at dusk and dawn. Or at least from what I've seen.
Well-
Dismisses the illusion, and then takes a step back.
We'll take that information. Hopefully, it will hurry things along. Unless there are other matters to discuss, I believe our business here is concluded.
The warlord just nods and says, I await your return with great interest.
I'll nod and start, turn towards the exit.
They watch you leave. Yeah, and with that, you exit the main gates. The gates close behind you, and the five of you are alone.
That felt too easy, and I'm kind of nervous about that.
Yeah, same.
I feel like there might be a backstab, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I guess we stay on our guard as usual.
But what I do,
I
I do.
at least see a potential reason why he would act the way he's acted.
Yes, I was about to say, I don't believe he thinks we can achieve the things that we've set out or said we would do. Admittedly, we have made big, simply said, grand promises without any, without looking into if it was truly possible.
Would you like me to inform Vondal or something? I suppose it's difficult to convey that kind of information.
Yeah. Well, I think perhaps we should inform Bundal after we've dealt with the Twilight Hunter.
Fair enough.
I mean, considering we don't even have a guarantee that they'll follow through with wanting to move, we may not have to inform Vondal at all.
True.
We just simply don't know at this point.
I
I
think,
guess
like,
we should wait for their response on the matter.
Thesira leans into you, Kelariis, and just sort of says, is it me, or was he... I don't know, maybe it was just the way he was stood, but I think he was intimidated.
Can I? It sounds weird, but can I think? Or I guess can I think back on
Yeah, you can retroactively insight him.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
I mean,
Especially if the series bring that up.
I mean, is the series saying that to everyone or just?
Just to Kelariis at the moment.
Okay.
All right, Kelariis.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
Oh shit.
Look, my insight's good. I don't use
Yeah.
it very often.
Now that Thesira mentions it, you think back on it, like, everything he said and did was very defensive. And he probably was, like, playing from the back foot a bit here and was just surprised when you offered to just do this thing without making any upfront demands.
Like offering to move them and stuff.
Yeah,
And
like
all that.
just like dealing with the Twilight Hunter without making any demands up front. Like he played it as if he was the one in control, but actually, like,
Not really at all.
Everything he did, like he didn't commit to anything. He didn't like posture or anything. He tried to talk big, but at the end of the day, he accepted your help. He just didn't promise anything in return.
We didn't expect any.
I mean,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like,
It's going to be interesting.
yeah, like Kelariis, you like thinking back on it, like he was almost certainly like off his guard by that whole exchange.
yeah. I mean, I think considering the fact that we did kind of like blow out half of his forces, in literally a minute, and
I think it was less than a minute.
well, I'm generously about a minute.
Yeah.
We had to walk
and
over.
we came in and didn't immediately be like, well, we're gonna just wipe out the rest of you. If I were in his position, I think I would also be kind of off guard. Like I wouldn't know what to expect at that point. So that makes sense. Like, is that kind of how Kelariis is
Yes.
interpreting it? I guess.
Yeah, like
Then he learned that the infamous Grey Slayer lets a gnome speak for her.
yeah.
I mean, like fucking everybody thinks Kelariis has like these grand things and she wants to talk all the time, and I'm just like, no,
Yep.
she just wants to be chill.
Yeah.
God,
It's almost like
so
somebody's
funny.
been spreading porcupines about you.
I know. Fucking disastrous, I swear to God. Honestly, real talk for a minute, I was expecting one of the advisors to be Visastrous, just like in disguise. And I was just, maybe it is, maybe it fucking is. I was just like, I would lose it. I would have lost it.
Honestly, it could have been any of them.
It was the frill.
God.
It was the frill lady.
Yeah, for real though. Yeah. I mean, I guess I probably just like, I paused to think about it for a second, and just back to Thesira say, I mean, considering the situation, I guess I can't really blame him. Not to mention that he probably assumed that we were going to come in under the pretense of a conversation and then strike out. I just hope that he's willing to hold up the opposite end of the proposition once we prove to him what we're capable of.
Let's not give him any room to doubt. If he's even contemplating meeting our demands, then I think we should push that as best we can.
I think so as well.
I think like Thesira just like looks up at the mountains and is just like, well, I guess we find out what's going on up there. It is almost dusk. We could try and meet it as it comes out, or wait until it's gone and go in.
Meeting it on the way out might be best.
If we can get there in time, I think that would be a good idea.
Although I suspect
Was that illusion enough for you to get us there safely, Arya?
Is it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rude.
Yes.
It'll probably take you a while to get there. Like you're gonna have to hotfoot it if you want to get there before dusk. But you can probably navigate there. It's a mountain. It's not like the hardest part is finding the safe route up. It's not like it's easy to get lost.
I suppose.
I guess if the terrain is particularly unfavorable for us, we may have to reconsider, but for the moment that seems like a good idea to meet it as it's leaving. Unless our tactician, just like giving a look at Grim, has objections.
Oh, I think everything's fine. Yeah, I'm aware that I may have said something that may not have been entirely true nor appropriate, but I'll acknowledge it this once.
This once.
What, that I work for you?
Yeah, well, you know, because you were like, I felt like you, like, I wasn't sure, like, if you were entirely filled in on the plan, because you, of course, stayed with the villagers, unlike the rest of us.
Also, I feel like while in a technical official capacity that might be true, it's definitely not in a practical sense.
I took no offense, Grim.
Well,
I'm almost wondering though, maybe it'd be an idea to wait for it to leave and then wait for it to return
see,
after it's tired and needs a rest.
Maybe we should
then
discuss this as we're walking.
yes,
Probably
we
a good
definitely
idea.
should.
Okay.
However, like, I believe that if once we get close, if we light a bonfire, it will find us.
Okay.
Well, lead the way, Arya.
And lead Arya does. And I think that will be a good point for us to bring this to a close for the evening.
Yeah.
Probably.
Still mildly concerned about that guy, but
I'm sure we'll be fine.
Oh,
Well-
I'm so worried.
see, the only reason I'm concerned is because he's made clever traps,
He has.
and I think we
We
can
just
get
need to
out
give
of
him
it.
as little time to prepare as possible.
Yeah.
Hell, if we can get there at dusk, fight it, subdue it in that fight, we can be back the next morning.
I think, for our own sake, we should probably have a rest before we return. We do so. The
Yeah.
only thing I didn't ask, which I kind of regret, is, although I don't think we would have, I think we would have known by now, like, if he even wanted the dragon disposed of, or dealt with, or anything.
Well, he didn't protest when you voiced potentially killing it, so I think
No,
we should-
but like, I don't think. I'm not sure if he would have protested against anything.
Well,
I mean, I feel like we know they want it taken care of because if it's causing them that much trouble.
I guess.
Hmm.
Oh well.
limiting their night operations and they have to hide from it, and it's literally preventing them from leaving the mountains.
Yes, but
Yes.
it's also preventing other groups.
with that thought in mind, I think that's a good place to bring us to a close. We'll
Yeah.
say all that's left to say is thank you all for playing, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi.